Hey, what's up, boxing fans? This is the Rope-A-Dope Report. I'm your host, Chris Carlson. We're still near that castle that I did a video on about sanctioning bodies. And I just saw this view, and I figured I'd just put it on video. I'm going to talk about some news going on. Sugar Shane Mosley, what's he going to do next? And Paul Williams, what is he going to do next? Let's talk about Mosley first and foremost. Mosley, he needs to go ahead and fight Berto. You know, he tried to lure Floyd early in the year. I didn't think Floyd would come back to that fight regardless. He tried to get, Cotto. Cotto didn't want to do it in LA. I can see why he didn't want to do it. Just ask Joshua Clottey. At least, talk about the scorecards in that fight. Why he didn't want to do it in Madison Square Garden. But then he was trying to get Pacquiao forever. And I got to give him credit. He's trying to say he'd go down to whatever catch weight. Then he just said, I'll go down to 140, which I think would have been a mistake. But you got to love that he's going to try to get that big paycheck. And that's what it is, too. Everyone says, oh, Mosley, is getting ducked, this, that, and the other. Everybody ducks a fighter here and there. Mosley's fought a lot. I'm not talking any trash about Mosley. But this whole Floyd thing, watch, I think, the second Vargas fight at the end of that, and look what happens when he's faced with the Floyd Mayweather question. So he had a chance to fight him then. He had a chance to fight him when they're 130 and 135, and he chose other ways, and he chose money to go for Oscar. Can't hate on him there, but he just made some pretty lame excuses at the end of that fight. Check out the post-fight Larry Merchant interview with that. So, he's trying to get paid right now, and he should get paid, man. And plus, fighting Pacquiao and getting paid, and fighting Mayweather and getting paid, those are awesome fights. So, but now that's done. So I think he should fight Berto. Obviously, I think he should fight Paul Williams. That's who I really think, because I think right now, you'd have to say Paul Williams is right there for the top welterweight. You can't really take anything away from him. He has a loss, but he made up for it. Everyone's got a loss in that welterweight division, so, and has been beaten that welterweight division. So, I think you should go Berto on a free HBO card. Then he can get 2 belts. Hopefully, they could make that unified. We don't know about that. But I do think he should fight Paul Williams. Paul, Kermit Cintrone says he wants to fight. I don't think he should fight him. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad fight, nothing to take away from Cintrone, especially in his last battle, but I think Berto at that weight division makes more sense. He's a young, inexperienced fighter. I think Mosley has a good chance against him, and it's a unification bout. And it needs to be taken care of, you know what I mean? And I heard Berto's trying to fight some other guy that has a belt in the welterweight division in a different country. And Collazo, that money, HBO's not putting up enough money for that. But it's not like he's a big money maker. He needs to go ahead and fight Collazo, in my opinion. But if that's not going to happen, then I think that's the fight he should take. I'd like to hear your comments on that. But, honestly, I'd like to see Williams-Mosley. And that brings us to Paul. I call him Paul Wall. We used to call him that. But the Punisher, Paul Williams. And I don't mean to disgrace him by calling Paul Wall. I don't know. One of my friends just started saying Paul Wall. So whatever. There's a fighter, I'm not even going to try to say his name, it's like Sergio, starts with a D-Z-I-N, ends with an I-K. He's 36-0, he beat Santos. I can't remember his name, and I don't want to mispronounce it out of, disrespecting the guy. That would be a good fight at 154, because he has his interim belt that he got from Phillips. So I think that would be a good fight for him on HBO. Like I said, I want to see him fight Mosley, but there's been huge talks lately, supposedly, that him and Kelly Pavlik, and they almost fought last fall, so a year later they'd be fighting again, and that would be to decide, a lot at 160. I mean, right now, Arthur Abraham's out of the division. The only other guy that's, I think, solid is Felix Strum. It doesn't look like their fight's going to happen because HBO lowballed Kelly Pavlik in him, but I don't know. I mean, it's not like it'd be a huge fight, to the general public in a mainstream thing, so I don't know if that's lowballing or not. But I would love to see Pavlik and Williams. I think that's a great fight. It'd be interesting to see how, a lot of people's like, oh, either Pavlik's going to kill him or Williams will kill him. Well, let's look at it. Pavlik, you know, I don't think he'd get killed by Paul Williams. And it'd be interesting to see. You can't just say, well, Hopkins outboxed him, so Paul Williams would. Well, that's two different fighters. One's a lot more craftier. Paul Williams is getting better, and he's on the rise, and he's definitely improving every fight, and he looked great against Winky. Probably his best all-around performance with head movement and defense and in and out, because sometimes he throws some wide punches, and sometimes his volume leaves him open for countering big time. And it's been exploited, but I think he's improving a lot, but he's not Bernard Hopkins yet, okay? So let's not go there with it. But at the same time, Paul Williams, you know, it'd be interesting to see him go against a taller fighter, you know, when his height and the reach is not as much as an advantage, and a guy that can flat out hit you when he gets to you. So, you know, slow against fast, it'd just be a good matchup. I'd love to see that. Let me tell you, you know, tell me what you think. And also, the last little news, speaking of Bernard Hopkins, he has said now, and I'm glad he's saying this, that he's going to fight Glenn Johnson, the winner of Glenn Johnson and Chad Dawson. So that would be a great fight on probably free HBO, maybe pay-per-view, I don't know. But I would love to see that fight, because then we can find out really at 175 what's going on, you know what I mean? Right now, we can't. You know, Kalsagi's gone. He didn't give Bernard Hopkins a rematch. He didn't fight Dawson or Glenn Johnson. So that'll basically figure it out. You could say if Dawson beat Johnson and beat Hopkins, he beat Tarver twice, and beat the guy Tomas Adamek, who's up at cruiserweight now, who's the man at cruiserweight, or at least, you know, seems to be the man up there. Needs to go ahead and give Cunningham the rematch, but yeah, that would be a great fight. So anyway, let me know what you what you think. Do some video responses, leave some comments. This has been another edition of the Rope-a-Dope Report via Sweden. Peace.